All right, y'all talk.
Yo, what's good, everyone out in YouTube and Facebook land, anywhere you're joining us. I am Manny Diaz alongside.
Hey, I'm Matt Tremble, and we're here to promote the Friday Night Football show.
Yep, it is called Cover One Live. If you haven't tuned in, well, you've been missing out for the last two Fridays. It starts at 7:30 each Friday night. We go to 10:30 on Friday nights. And what's great about this show is that it's just a whole mess of high school football. You know, highlights, live streams, scoreboards from all over the Concho Valley in West Texas, and then we throw in some good stuff from around the state of Texas, which is always good because what we do here in West Texas certainly gets pushed out to the rest of the state of Texas. So we have an exciting show coming up for you tomorrow night. Probably one of the best things about this show, it is, if you want to really kind of nail it down, it's a NFL red zone version of Texas high school football. So by meaning of that, we're going to throw in highlights of it. We're going to take some live feeds of ball games. In fact, Trammell, this guy's been boots on the ground for us for the last few weeks and following the Wall Hawks.
Oh yeah, we've been going to Wall every week so far, getting film, putting it in. But this is really just a good way, especially right now with COVID restrictions. You may not want to go to a stadium, but here you can actually see not just one game at a time, but you can see games from all over the state live. It's not live, but it's you're getting them as soon as it's there. So you'll see the first quarter, you'll see the second quarter,
right.
You'll see the third quarter, and so on and so on. And coaches' interviews after the game. It's been really good so far.
Yeah, it's just a menu, a buffet of Texas high school football that we give you. So instead of just watching one game, heck, we're going to give you so many games at a time. And in real time, we're actually going to update you on a lot of the scores from around the Concho Valley, West Texas, and the entire state of Texas. So we have a few things to talk about this afternoon. But first and foremost, we do have some San Angelo Live mugs to give away here. And if for the folks either on YouTube or Facebook, however you are joining us, hey, if you want to win one of these mugs, we'll put it down. We'll put the question down here in the comment section. If you can list the current members of the Little Southwest Conference in Class 6A, the district that the San Angelo Central Bobcats are part of, the updated Little Southwest Conference, you will take home one of these mugs. So we're going to monitor this whole thing and see where that goes.
Hey, we went ahead and even gave y'all a hint.
I know.
We gave y'all one of them,
yeah.
So see if y'all can go. The Bobcats, they actually started football this week, and they started their practice this week, and then, heck, they got a game in 2 weeks, getting ready to go.
Yeah, this morning I was out there at their practice. Malachi Brown looking pretty good. Has a lot of different weapons around him, certainly. But as I was watching practice, shooting video of the practice, here comes a little sprinkle.
Oh.
One sprinkle, it's almost like a snowball effect, and here comes, and it
yeah,
just
now
started
it ain't
pouring.
sprinkling.
Yeah,
now
it wasn't sprinkling anymore. So
yeah.
It's one thing for me to sit out there and stand in the rain, but it's another thing for the camera gear and all that other stuff. So
right.
Probably may not be the best idea to sit around and stand.
Yeah, well, hopefully, though, it's looking like this rain's going to pick up, and we're not going to have too much wet football on Friday night. It's going to rain a little bit tomorrow, but it's supposed to be all done by the time kickoff starts.
Yeah, so speaking of kickoff, there is one game here in San Angelo. If you do feel like catching a game, we'll have highlights on it, of course, on the website and on our social media platforms. It is Fort Stockton and Glen Rose. It's a clash of Class 4A programs in the state of Texas. So this is kind of a meet in the middle, mid-season kind of game. You don't actually see these matchups, a matchup like this, until it actually gets into the postseason. So they're actually doing something like this. We saw one of these games earlier this season with Monahans and Fredericksburg. Trammell, you and I were at that game.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see West Texas and a lot of area kind of take on some different areas of Texas.
Yeah, because in the Concho Valley, it's different kinds of football down here. You have Wall that's just going to run the ball, and Cristova's just going to run the ball. But some of those schools over there, and just from other places, it's just a whole different type of offense and defense. So it's always fun to just see different matchups.
Absolutely. So that one we will have tonight, Fort Stockton and Glen Rose. Glen Rose looking plenty good this season. Fort Stockton an up-and-coming team, so we'll hope to have some good highlights of that. Hopefully Mother Nature kind of holds off. Here in San Angelo, if you've been outside for the last 48 hours, or if you just walked outside, it's cold and it is raining. It looks something like Seattle. We're here in West Texas.
Those Lakeview fans might have to take a boat to the game tomorrow night.
And poor Lakeview. They had a homecoming parade, homecoming fiesta lined up this evening at Lakeview Stadium. Washed out tonight.
That's tough. They almost lost the game entirely last week, but then Sweetwater ended up, coming back on. So luckily they're still going to get to go tomorrow night.
Yeah, so the Lakeview Chiefs, they will take on the Sweetwater Mustangs tomorrow night at San Angelo Stadium. Of course, the whole story with Sweetwater, they had a game lined up with Jim Ned last Friday night, but of course Jim Ned, the Indians from Tuscola, came down with COVID-19. Sweetwater had to cancel that game midweek. Sweetwater had to find another game, and then they were like, well, maybe we shouldn't play next week. Let's just kind of just hold off. Finally, Saturday, they said, hey, we're good to go. Let's play some ball.
Thank goodness, because Lakeview's been really on a roll. I mean, they're looking pretty good this year.
And last week they came on. They won in very dramatic fashion.
Yeah.
They looked dead in the water at halftime against Pecos on the road out there deep in the heart of West Texas. Mm-hmm. They pull off a 44-41 win against the Eagles. It's good to see what Hector Guevara and Albert Rodriguez and this Chiefs roster, what they're up to this season. Seems like they got something pretty good.
Right, and it's always good for them to go out there and play those deep West Texas teams over there, because that's usually where their first playoff matchup is.
Certainly, yeah.
They're going to have to travel down there, so it's good for them to go get looks and feel the weather out there and how it is.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a game that we're looking forward to tomorrow night. Sweetwater, a traditional West Texas powerhouse. They've seen better days in the last few seasons, but what's interesting about this team is how they were kind of they leveraged themselves a little bit in their opening season matchup against Stephenville. Stephenville, one of these other traditional powerhouse teams. They did fairly well throughout the first half. Stephenville kind of just opened it up and said, hey, we're the Yellow Jackets. Yeah. We've done some things.
Right.
We're going to flex on these guys. But, yeah, good game tomorrow night. One other game, in fact, Trammell, we'll get his take on this one, is Wall in San Antonio Cornerstone Christian. So one interesting thing about this game is, this was lined up to be Wall versus, I believe, Shiner, or some other team other than San Antonio Cornerstone Christian. But because of COVID and everything else, Wall had to kind of mix it up and find another game late. Cornerstone Christian, one of the best teams in TAPS, which is the private school sector of Texas high school football. Their starting quarterback headed off he's the commit to the University of Arkansas. So if that tells you what kind of pedigree that this team is bringing tomorrow night, that is what the Wall Hawks are up against. Of course, the Hawks 2-0. Drew Morrison leading these Hawks to a great start this season. Trammell, you've been with them for the last 2 weeks. What have you seen from these guys that can make this a pretty good ball game tomorrow?
Well, Wall, it's just not the same as every year, but I mean, basically down to the core, it's almost the same as every year. They're going to put their heads down and they're going to be rough and tough. Drew Morrison, he's playing starting quarterback and he's also the starting middle linebacker. That's pretty tough to do. I mean, you're talking about putting your body out there, especially in that triple option offense.
No kidding.
But then on top of all that, they have Chase Rios, and man, he's been showing out these last 2 games.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, we do have a hype video. This is our fall. Since we didn't get a chance to do a music video this season due to COVID-19, we do have a hype video that we're going to be putting out here. We'll share with you here in just a few moments. Chase Rios on the highlight there. We'll show you why.
Oh, yeah.
This guy, probably one of the most elusive cats in West Texas.
Oh, and he'll definitely let you know about it. Week 1, man, he ran right by everybody, threw the peace signs up and everything. Yeah, he can back it up, though, I tell you.
I tell you what, whenever he can cut on a dime, and some of the moves that he has, it's like, I mean, he puts guys on skates.
Yeah, like he's pretty good. Like even though he's playing at Wall, he could definitely start for any Big 6A, I think.
Without question.
Yeah.
It'd be fun to. I mean, although we love seeing him play for Wall.
Oh, no doubt.
It'd be interesting to see what he can do.
Yeah.
With some angry orange on him.
That dude can play though.
Yeah, he's most certainly a baller. We can't forget about Kai Herbert, another one of these running backs on this Wall team. So many different weapons that Houston guy has to operate with.
Yeah, and even on top of that, you have the huge just front line up there. I mean, every single person on that offensive line and defensive line. I mean, they're pretty stout boys. You know, they look like they've worked in the fields a couple of times and definitely had the drink the water in Wall. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, you got to wonder what's in the water out in Wall, just because those kids there. But it's genetics.
That's right.
That's what we like to say. That's what we like to think. That's for sure.
Right.
So Joe Hyde, who is our fabulous director of this show.
You got to look at the scoreboard.
I'm trying to pump Joe up here. I'm trying to give him some kudos, and he's yelling at me that we need to go to the scoreboard. So we'll throw out this here in the next few moments. In fact, Joe, if you want to show us what we're working with tomorrow night, we'll go through a few of the games that we are going to be covering, or that we're going to be putting on the show. This one, it's a Battle of the Big Country. Monday, looking to go medieval on the Ranger Bulldogs. That one we're going to be going on tomorrow night.
Why
Joe,
do you think Monday's going to go medieval?
They are the Moguls, Joe.
What are the Rangers?
The Bulldogs.
Can you even be called the Rangers anymore?
No. They're the Ranger Bulldogs. But there is a Ranger mascot out there, Joe.
They're going to.
The Smithson Valley Rangers.
They're going to have. They're going to have to change the name of the town.
Get out of here.
Get out of here.
We've seen that with Midland Greenwood. The Midland.
You
Greenwood
can't be a
Rangers.
Ranger.
Anywho,
Next.
let's move it along, Joe. What we have to look forward to tomorrow.
Ooh.
No. This is from last week. This is from last week. There, Weekend. No. This is week 1 stuff here. So we can effort some of maybe. I know we do have the updated schedule of games on the docket somewhere.
Well, let's see. Let's just keep going.
That was a week 1. That was week 1.
There has been a major gash in the scoreboard.
Gracious.
Okay.
So the guy who's
All right, we're getting rid of the scoreboard.
Okay, so we'll
I mean, whoever made that scoreboard, what an idiot.
Yeah, who is that guy? No, shout out to Joe for the scoreboard. The scoreboard looks nice, though.
Yeah.
Just maybe not the right content.
Yeah, Joe.
Oh.
Joe worked his magic on that one to get it.
We've got to figure out why the scoreboard. So keep talking. I'm going to fix the scoreboard.
All right, so if you're joining us now, we're putting it here in the comments here. You can win a fresh new red San Angelo Live mug. You can start your morning off right.
Yeah.
It's the best part of waking up.
Wake up in the morning,
yeah.
read what's going on around town, and drink your coffee at the same time. That's perfect.
Yeah, San Angelo Live. So you will win a SanAngeloLive.com mug if you can name all members of the current Little Southwest Conference. And I'll throw you a hint right here. So the Little Southwest Conference, the district that your San Angelo Central Bobcats are a part of. If you can drop us a line there in the comments. I know we see what you. If you can drop us a line there, you will win a brand new mug. How does that sound?
Oh yeah.
All right. So waking up with San Angelo Live, that's for sure. So some big games tomorrow night. Another one that we are kind of having our eye on is one out in the Big Country. Is Hamlin versus Albany, and Trammell, this is a game that these towns are separated by somewhere between 30 and 40 miles apart.
Very aware of each other.
Hamlin they made it all the way to the Class 2A Division II state championship, only to fall just shy against a very good Mart Panther team. Mm-hmm. If you know anything about Texas high school football, you know about the Mart Panthers and how good they are. The pedigree of those guys, that's championship pedigree. These guys are, Mart is now undefeated in the season, but Hamlin, they're returning a lot of guys. They're looking just as good. They're ranked top 5 in the state of Texas. Albany right in the top 10, and we're getting one of these games early on in the season.
Yeah, and that's what's the good thing about just getting these games early. I mean, a lot of the times we're shadowed by the big schools, but now that we're right here, just having these 1A through 4As,
right.
you get to see some of these big games early.
Mm-hmm. One other game that I'm curious, and I'm looking at is Colorado City in Ballinger. Ballinger right now is 2-0 in the season. Chuck Lipsey is doing a phenomenal job with these guys. I believe this is his. He's fairly new to Ballinger within the last few seasons. So what he's doing with his Ballinger team is something very good. They beat Breckenridge last week at home.
Jim Ned the first week.
And
Yeah.
that was probably one of the more surprising, the shocking wins of the entire week of the opening week. Ballinger's still riding high. We're gonna follow that feed for as much as we can tomorrow night. They're gonna host Colorado City.
Hey,
so that one is a good one.
Where's Menard playing?
Ooh, well.
Are they playing in Cross Plains?
No, they are playing against Ropes. In Colorado City. So that is
a little neutral site West Texas battle right there.
So Menard against Ropes at Colorado City tomorrow night. So we'll of course update you on that one. Another one that I'm kind of looking forward to, and this is my hometown, the Cristobal Cougars. Now 1-1 on the season, coming off a big win last week against the Creek.
Yeah,
Creek
they went
Eagles.
down to the Creek and took care of business. And Brent Blink was there last week, and he was saying, it looked like Grape Creek was going to win it the whole game, and then Cristobal just ended up taking it at the end. So that's good.
It was a good win for Casey Otho and the Cougars to get Grape Creek.
Get one on the board, really.
Yeah, these guys, it's been a struggle for them the last few seasons, but it looks like they may have something. I don't think they're far away from turning a corner to getting a winning season and doing something meaningful there in the north end of Tom Green County.
And who knows? This one might just make them start rolling.
Yeah. So this game tomorrow night, Cristobal versus Sonora. It is the first ever meeting between these two programs. For years, Cristobal's been known as a six-man program dating back to the Jack Pardee days. If you don't know Jack Pardee, just Google the guy. You're going to see Houston Oilers, Texas A&M, Washington Redskins, a whole mess of this guy.
Washington football team.
Yes.
The Washington football team.
Where's Joe chiming in on that? Yeah. So
The who?
the Washington team of the NFL, Jack Pardee's.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So we're going to see the first ever matchup between Cristobal and Sonora. True battle of Highway 277 tomorrow night in Sonora, Texas. So that's a pretty good game. And I think with Sonora, these guys, still looking for their first win of the season. They've basically having to go from a spread offense to a wing T-esque kind of offense. It's a lot of run heavy. That's a run heavy scheme. Trammell, thoughts on these guys?
It's tough to transition through that when you build a program through just passing the ball and throwing the ball and air raiding it out. It's really hard the first year to get to that. We want to run heavy, grind out, tough mentality, and I don't think it's impossible. I think maybe they just got to get used to it. They're going to have to just start going on a roll. They just got to focus on picking up their first win, and after that they just keep on going.
Yeah, no doubt. So I think that's going to be a good game. It's one we've never seen before. Sonora's always been a
it'll
little
be
bit
exciting
bigger.
for Concho Valley.
Oh, without question. Without question. I couldn't. Back in my day, growing up in Cristobal, we could never really ever fathom the idea of facing Sonora. They were always bigger in classification than us. Yeah. Cristobal, we didn't face a whole lot of bigger schools.
Yeah.
So now that this is kind of like presented itself, it's like, okay, well, why not?
Well, we're kind of here now, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
Another really good game that we're going to see down in just a few more weeks involving Sonora is Sonora versus El Dorado. Haven't seen this game since the early 2000s. And what's good about this, they used to be in the same district back in the day. They used to be in the same district as Wall, Junction, Sonora. You start throwing Mason in there once upon a time. Yeah. And so they're kind of like, it's reviving the old rivalry.
Yeah, it has an old feel with it. Yeah.
A lot of the I'm not going to say old folks because that's going to rule me out here, but a lot of folks that are I'm not going to tell you how old I am. I'll say class of 2004 from Cristobal. So a lot of the folks from El Dorado and Sonora, they know that rivalry. The folks from that era and beyond. the generation right now really doesn't know that too much because they really haven't played each other.
But the dads in the stands, the
man.
dads in the stands, they're gonna know it. The dads in the stands know the other dads in the stands. It's gonna be chatter as soon as they get to the house.
I want to see the friendly wagers. What's going to be on the block there? Perhaps a brisket. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
You know, whatever. I mean,
heck yeah.
You know, I imagine there's going to be something that's to be desired that could be won. Come that I believe it's week 5.
I'm sure they can figure something out pretty nice.
So certainly. So we will look forward to that one. Cristobal Sonora tomorrow night down in Sutton County. Let's see. What are the games we looking for? 6-man game.
Yeah, we're going to be in Mertzen this weekend.
It is Fort Davis in Irion County. James Bellini will be helping us out on this one here. Irion County, if you don't know anything about these guys, they are transitioning from 11-man football to 6-man football. Last year, they kind of played a renegade schedule that's basically just testing the waters of 6-man football. They did very well this season. They are currently undefeated. They just had their way last week with Robert Lee.
Right.
Looking to do the same against Fort Davis. Fort Davis, a traditional 6-man powerhouse. The kids from Mertzen, they look to pretty much do the same thing what they did last week. So I think they're on to something there.
Yeah, I mean they never had a bad program, and then their athletic program in general has never been too bad. So with them just transitioning to like a smaller scheme, kind of six man feel, I think they're going to be really good. I think they're really going to be tough for some of these teams with smaller people and smaller numbers.
No doubt. And what makes them so much fun to watch in 6-man football is pretty much the fact that they're a really good basketball program. In 6-man football and basketball, they marry each other in that aspect, because all you're doing with 6-man football is almost like basketball. You just throw some pads on.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah.
They're spread out. They run a lot. They're up and down the field. So you're going to see. I'm very interested to see what Irion County is going to do tomorrow night.
I think it's going to be pretty high scoring. Yeah, I think that's going to be pretty obvious.
They hung some points on Robert Lee last week. I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, we were looking in the 70s or 80s, perhaps.
Yeah. So they figured it out.
These guys can ball, to say the least.
I figured out the scores.
Hey-oh.
Who entered in the week 1 games?
Not me.
We'd have to go to our editorial department.
They've entered in week 1 games. It's not me. I'm perfect.
Oh, Joe Hyde the perfect.
All right.
Let's go with that one.
Hey, there's another San Angelo game this weekend.
St. Angelo game?
Yeah, there's another San Angelo game on Friday.
What's
the Eagles?
Eagles
and the Creek.
The TLCA
Eagles.
That is right.
Yeah, I think they're going to the Creek, right?
Yeah, they are going to North Tom Green County.
Yeah.
I know we try not to poke fun at loss, win, or certainly the loss column or anything like that. But somebody will hit the dub column, the win column.
Someone's going to win this game.
Someone's going to win a game.
Someone's going to win this game.
Man, what a prediction.
Someone's going to win this game. There's going to be...
The question is, will the bus with all the TLCA players get up to Grape Creek safely?
Yes.
Why would that be, Joe?
They're going to Grape Creek.
Oh.
Let's stop there. He'll try to be here all night tomorrow if he's not asked to leave by some folks from the audience.
Yeah, there we go.
Last week, what was it, Joe? The Nevada Community Braves. That was
yes. Nevada. We need to make sure that we get Nevada Community into our score updates because Nevada Community, the Braves, they're going places.
Well, they've. Right. I'm not going to say going places just yet. They're still looking to get in the win column this season, playing some pretty good.
They're not losing. They're just getting outscored.
Where is that at?
They're kind of
It's by Dallas.
Yeah, they're kind of in that
Metroplex
DFW area, that north DFW area. So that corridor.
It's where the suburbs are getting built.
So yeah, they'll probably skyrocket to a Class 4A,
6A
team here in the next 2 seasons.
Nice.
Nevada Community.
Who's Brock got this week?
I believe they are off this week.
Oh,
so
man.
I would tell you, but the scoreboard, whoever entered in the games this week is just out there.
A few games that we intend to kind of peek in on. via the live stream, and this is out of Class 4A. They're just kind of down the road from us. Is Brownwood in China Spring. Brownwood coming off a very dominating win last week against Midland Greenwood. And I tell you, that was a great win for Brownwood. Just for one, it was their first win of the season, but two, Midland Greenwood reached all the way to the Class 4A Division II state semifinal game. They eventually came up just a little bit shy against the eventual state champion Pleasant Grove. So Brownwood faced off against against Greenwood last Friday, came away with a dub. This week they're going to get China Spring. This China Spring team looks pretty good. Now, what's interesting about Brownwood is because their head coach and their play-by-play guy, there was an outbreak of some COVID.
Oof.
So
In Brownwood?
Yes.
They have COVID in Brownwood?
Their head coach.
So the coach had to sit out along with the play-by-play, Dallas Houston, play-by-play man. So yeah, there was.
Is he back?
I'm not sure if he'll be back tomorrow. We'll have to kind of check up on that. But
Do you know where
Something to
China
watch,
Spring
though.
is?
it is in the Waco area.
Waco. Yes, it's
right.
up there just northwest of Waco.
Yeah,
A lot of ball players.
There's a lake over there.
there is.
Yeah.
It's a spring.
Maybe
A
it's
China spring.
maybe that's why they have the COVID.
Hey,
the
maybe.
Chinese virus.
Hey,
Oh,
no.
there we go, there we go.
He'll try to be here tomorrow night. So that's we'll be sure and try to do a live look into that game and kind of peek in it as we can with China Spring and Brownwood. Brownwood looking to move to 2-1 on the season.
Would be a big win for
Yeah,
whoever wins that game. That's going to be a big win.
most definitely.
Yeah.
You got to look. I mean, it's always nice to see. It's West Texas. I tell you what, covering Brownwood years ago, it's always nice to. It's always good for West Texas when Brownwood has a good team. You certainly grew up in the Lubbock area.
Yeah.
There are teams up there. It's football is a lot better when there's certain teams in your area
Absolutely.
that are pretty good, just
Yeah.
because of the tradition-rich programs.
Of course, and this gives us one more representation down there. When sometimes it's packed with Houston and Dallas teams. It's anytime we can get a West Texas team in there, it's always a blessing.
Yeah, I tell you what, Midland Greenwood was just this close to representing West Texas in the Class 4A Division II division last season.
Yeah,
came
that
up
was
just shy.
Right, I was at that game. That game was pretty tough
Yeah.
at the end.
You
Right on.
saw a lot of that and how all that played out. So, who knows what's in store for some of our West Texas teams this year. Of course, the San Angelo Central Bobcats, they'll be gearing up in 2 more weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
They have Meet the Bobcats this week, this Saturday night. It's kind of their open scrimmage amongst the team. Next Thursday, they'll be squaring off in a scrimmage format against the Abilene Cooper Cougars, a former Little Southwest Conference rival. They're in Abilene, I believe. No, that is here. That is here in San Angelo at San Angelo Stadium. Excuse me. So we will see them kind of, and of course, Abilene Cooper made it all the way to the third round of the Class 5A Division I playoffs last season. They're returning a lot of guys, so I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of scrimmage and what the Central Bobcats are made of early on.
I'm just excited to see how much Malachi will just advance from last season. He had a very good season, but really this is his senior year going in, so. It's all or nothing now.
Absolutely.
And especially with this COVID thing, and you don't really have any time to mess around right now. You gotta go. So I'm really excited to see the Bobcats and how they're gonna play this season.
Without question, they're having to kind of replace some very good wide receivers, and our very own Christian Gabaldon and Tanner Dabbert. They do have Jalen Lifesty returning, but those two guys, Tanner and Christian, left huge shoes to fill.
Right on.
But Kevin Crane, the offensive coordinator of that Bobcats team, is one to kind of find guys and get guys going and motivate them. So it should be interesting to see who they have to kind of fill in those spots.
Yeah, and any team with Brent Davis, it's going to be okay. He's going to be able to lead that ship wherever it's going.
Yeah, that ship looked to be, I wouldn't say completely sinking. It was kind of leveraging in one way at some point last season, but then it kind of got directed into another.
That's
way,
right,
so.
because he knows how to direct the ship.
Yeah. So last year was 10 consecutive seasons of clinching a playoff berth. This year they'll be looking to make it 11 straight seasons back in the Little Southwest Conference. And the Bobcats, they're not being shown too much love, certainly from the Dave Campbell's folks.
Oh, yeah.
Picked to finish 4th in the district and to claim that last and final playoff spot.
But, that last district they were in, I felt it might be a little more tough than the district that we're in now. I mean, I feel like the Bobcats might have a little more familiarity with some of these Lubbock schools and Midland schools, and they don't have to go up to Dallas every weekend and play some of these really hard teams.
I tell you what, that was a trip every week.
Every week,
having to make our way up to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Of course, we haven't seen a lot of these teams in the last 2 years. We've seen Midland Lee and Odessa Permian just because I got a firsthand look at them in the postseason last season. But there's a lot of things have changed since then. And this generation of Central kids, that certainly the seniors, they haven't faced them since early JV ball, or so kids develop from that time to the senior season. So I think it's almost kind of reacclimating yourself to something. It's almost like, but then again, they know how to ride the bike of the Little Southwest Conference. They know how to what it looks like, what it feels like. So
matchups,
that they'll know for sure.
Yeah, the matchups I think is just really what you look at, the individual matchups. When you get to start playing some of those other schools that just have athletes that are just crazy, that are going to the highest Alabama and stuff like that, and that's not saying that someone can't do that from this conference, but it's just a lot more likely that if you're going to see that from those other conferences, and it might help us out that we're going over here and we might have these better matchups, get a better spot in playoffs and make a deeper run.
Right. And there's not too many blue chip stars that right now on paper that we've seen from the Little Southwest Conference. Of course, we could be singing a different tune, as the weeks progress.
Of course.
From Midland Lee last year was Loic Fungi, the guy right here on my left. This guy, fantastic wide receiver, can cut on a dime with some amazing speed and hops. He's now at Texas Tech, representing the Lee Rebels. So we'll see what magic that the Rebels and Odessa Permian and of course our San Angelo Central Bobcats have this season. So
hey, and then boys up in Lubbock, as a Lubbock guy, you can't count out the Friendship Tigers. You can't count out the Tigers.
Yeah. So Trammell, you're a Levelland guy.
Yeah, I'm not actually Lubbock. I'm Levelland, but that's right there, man.
The land.
Lobos. I'm from the land. Go Lobos.
Do you know who they're playing this week, Trammell?
No, I don't. They've had a pretty tough start to the year. They I think they got their first win last week, but it wasn't a very strong win. It didn't look, but it's okay because I know they've got big things going over there.
Sure.
Yeah.
We saw them, or we saw the stadium a few years ago. It's a brand new stadium out in Levelland. Middle of nowhere, West
Wall
Texas.
Hawks. Yeah, Wall Hawks played there. Heck yeah, got a win I think against maybe Bushland.
The
was
Bushland Falcons.
Yeah,
fantastic finish. Drew Morrison kind of finished it off with an interception to clinch the win. So it's a beautiful stadium out there in the middle of nowhere of West Texas.
Hey, well, I was the first player to ever play on it, so I mean, it's awesome.
See, there we go. Trammell representing the land, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so we do have a great show on tap for you tomorrow night. A lot of excellent games. Trammell is going to be out at a very good ball game.
Yep.
In fact, our folks that we kind of share video with Fox Sports Southwest are very excited about this game. Certainly folks in San Antonio. The many folks that follow Texas high school football across the state of Texas are to say the least, pumped about this one. And I think here in West Texas, we're eager to see what Wall has to offer because San Antonio Cornerstone Christian, they're coming off a loss from last week from a Cedar Hill private school team that's coached by none other than primetime Deion Sanders himself.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's
so
right.
that's who San Antonio Cornerstone Christian lines up on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
They fell. They came up short against that Cedar Hill team out of the TAPS division.
But they did beat Kyle Allen, right?
They beat Cal Allen in week 1, and I tell you, Cal Allen, if you know anything about about well-driven teams, finely tuned teams in the state of Texas. That's one of them.
Yep,
so,
that's it right there.
So yeah, it's going to be a great game. I'm interested to see what Craig Slaughter, the Hawks defensive coordinator, has and how he's going to line up his defense against, probably one of the best quarterbacks that they'll see all season long.
Yeah.
He's committed to the University of Arkansas.
Well, they, the first 2 weeks they've played good ball. They've won. The first week they scored in the 1 point. It was like 28 touchdowns in 14 plays. But the last game against Cisco, they didn't start as fast as they usually do or usually could have on offense. And so I feel like if they do that again, they might be in trouble. But Coach Guy over there, that was one of his main points after the game was that they did start out slow, but they know how to play it out and how to pick it up and go. And as long as they can make time or make the most out of their possessions, the possession time, because they don't always have the ball the most. They like to just get in there and score.
Right.
So then the other team, like Cisco, held the ball, and they could never get on.
And that's kind of with Cisco, that's one of the biggest things they do. They're going to grind you down.
Yeah.
Wall, they just want to score.
Yeah, they want to just be efficient. That is Wall's saying. Wall's efficiency 101.
Yeah.
And if they can stay efficient and they can score with the possessions that they have and get huge stops, which they do constantly, I think they're going to be okay tomorrow night.
Certainly. So that's a big game that we're going to be watching. Of course, we do have our hype video to premiere. The 2020 fall hype video. Joe Hyde's working on. He's on the ones and twos directing this show as well as all of our shows.
X's and O's.
X's and O's.
X's and O's.
Aren't we? Isn't this a football show? What's this ones and twos? It's like,
okay, so the ones. So Joe.
Joe don't know the ones and twos. Joe don't know what the ones and twos are.
I was in the band.
Well, it's music.
It's
related.
a music.
It's almost like the DJ.
The DJ, when you got the ones and twos on the board.
Never mind. That's a little past.
I'm totally confused. X's and O's.
All right. On Joe with the X's and O's.
With that said, Joe, take it away for our Cover 1 2020